little bit of a slowdown as neither of them wanting to make any over-aggressive approaches.
Dash wait, dash wait, dash wait.
Okay. Noel waiting patiently.
He's poking. Yeah, this game is really slowed down a lot.
I understand that this video is likely to be controversial, but I want to be transparent when it comes to why I've quit this game multiple times in the past and how I feel about the current state of the game. I also want to permanently explain why I'm not interested in playing Brawlhalla competitively despite having been somewhat highly ranked in the past. I've been consistently getting questions about this for a while, and I hope this video will clear everything up. Over a year ago, I wrote a review for this game explaining why I was quitting after so many hours. My reason for writing it was because I couldn't find a review that I felt accurately explained the problems with the mechanics of the game. To summarize the initial review, I recommended Brawlhalla and still do because I believe that it is one of the absolute best party games you can play. It's easy as hell to play this game non-stop for hours, and there's plenty of modes to play with your friends. If you're skilled enough, you can zoom around the stage, throw weapons all over the place, do long combos, harass people, troll them on the wall, and style on them from anywhere on the map.
Stop playing that f***ing weapon!
This is why I came back to the game and why I find it to be incredibly enjoyable on a casual level. There's a reason so many people try to quit this game only to eventually find their way back to it months later. However, the ridiculous freedom of movement, including 3 jumps and a dodge that grants instant invincibility on a 1-second cooldown while allowing you to act immediately after using it, leads to a passive meta where attacking first is usually detrimental. Good players will dash around and jump constantly in a relentless effort to stack as many movement options as possible on top of each other. The goal in doing this is to maximize the possibility of your opponent whiffing so that you can get an easy punish. No platform fighter allows you the same amount of aerial freedom and invincibility frames that Brawlhalla does. This freedom means that actually reading your opponent's movement can be too difficult, way harder than the alternative, which is just to utilize this movement yourself to bait out a whiff. Shortly after I posted the review, it rose to become the most popular Brawlhalla review on Steam of all time. By now, close to 700 people have given it a thumbs up. Someone later posted the review on the Brawlhalla subreddit, where it received more attention even from pro players. While I cannot deny that a lot of the information in my review is outdated, I am still entirely convinced that the overarching problems I detailed in it are equally or perhaps even more true in the current state of the game.
Let me start with the only thing that actually matters in Brawlhalla. Playing passively. I mean, knowing how to approach.
On Effie's twit longer, he says, "There are really only 3 or 4 core mix-ups in the game, the biggest and most problematic of these being a player's ability to delay interaction between himself and the opponent. The amount of space and ease of evasion skews strategies towards safe play. It is common to simply put on layer upon layer of timing and movement mix-ups to strain every last possible chance of your opponent just whiffing something before considering making a move yourself. Not all players do this, but it is present on some level in every single competitive Brawlhalla game." Unlike my review, Effie's twit longer was released long after Dash was implemented. Some originally thought Dash would help make the game more aggressive overall and remove these problems, and while I don't know whether that was the goal of the mechanic, it certainly failed to have that effect. Dash is just as easily and arguably even better used for passive purposes than for aggressive ones. In some ways, it even amplifies the worst things about Brawlhalla by making it so much easier to bait out attacks. Dash also greatly increased the range at which you can effectively parry your opponent, with guns being able to punish whiffed attacks from almost halfway across the map. Using Dash as a reliable method of creating whiffs is a central part of successfully playing Brawlhalla well, and when both players really want to win and take this to an extreme, it's not fun.
But in Ultimate, when you air dodge, you have a ton of frames where you can't do anything. I think this is a great mechanic overall and a great change to the game because it's going to really promote aggressive play, and that's what we want.
Brawlhalla's dodge is drastically different from other platform fighters in that it's extremely fast and allows you to immediately use any move you want afterwards. The consequence of this is that if you attempt to read an opponent after hitting them to continue pressure, guessing wrong can very often get you punished because the opponent can dodge out of your attack and hit you in return. Even if they don't dodge into a position where they can retaliate with an attack, your pressure still ends because now you're at a frame disadvantage. This is terrible. It's easily one of the worst things about the game because it heavily discourages you from even attempting to continue pressure. What plays into this and makes it worse is the fact that you can immediately dodge in any of 8 directions when airborne. Because of this, against a good opponent who's mixing up his options well, your chances of actually reading them correctly are very slim. Considering that an incorrect read can get you punished, this is why hitting a player and waiting for them to make another mistake instead of going for an actual read is often better than trying to follow up your attacks. Other fighting games don't have this problem because their mechanics heavily encourage continuing pressure instead. Games like Guilty Gear or Dragon Ball FighterZ have mechanics that inherently encourage you to continuously pressure your opponent even at the highest level of play.
Again, gets hit by the meaty cannon! Gets the hit, he's gonna be able to close this round out! Perfect, we're going to the final round!
Tekken has a notably strong balance between aggressive, defensive, and passive play. Successful defense can allow you to blow up the opponent for attacking and make them second guess their every move.
This was the mix-up in the first set, you know, it was whether or not he would be low parrying everything, so he tried to hit him with the elbows, and there's the low parry. And he's on point, round 1, game 3.
Jeez. So hard to get in on me.
However, a player on the defense must consistently make strong reads on the opponent's offense to not get overwhelmed by their pressure.
Look at the offense. Beautiful. Look at the offense. This is Gorgeous George from Speed Kick. Putting on a show, he's eating.
Being evasive and parrying your opponent also requires you to make equally strong reads. Brawlhalla, on the other hand, has no real sense of pressure that isn't mental or off-stage play. Oftentimes, you can just dodge out of the opponent's offense and reset the match to neutral. You can attempt to read their dodge, but the sheer number of directions you can dodge in, coupled with a massive aerial freedom, means doing so is difficult. This is partially why so many high-level matches end up looking like poke wars that continuously return to the neutral phase.
No game has made me as mad as Brawlhalla has, and I've even smashed my laptop so hard back in 2017 that my hands started bleeding. Each and every match feels cheated no matter how I play it, and executing a cool play never gives me as much satisfaction as other fighting games out there like For Honor and Battlerite.
I wanted to address this because it seems like a point that the community overwhelmingly agrees with. Even as an even-tempered person who practically never gets mad, I find Brawlhalla to be unusually frustrating compared to other fighting games, and the reason why seems quite clear. Brawlhalla is one of the most frustrating fighting games you can play in existence because the game seems to inherently reward you for being passive and discourage you from being aggressive. Brawlhalla often devolves to circular gameplay where both players are trying to bait out a whiff. This can be infuriating when it happens. It's more akin to a game of cat and mouse than something that's actually enjoyable. Please don't take anything I've said to mean that I hate this game. I do like this game, I just only like it on a casual level. Once again, I'll read all of your comments. Most of them, some of them, and thank you for 8,000 subscribers. I'll have a Q&A video out soon.